Hey guys, if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for a link to my Amazon store where I've compiled some of the very best items available, including some of my own personal recommendations. Thanks! What's going on? YouTube Metal Complex here, and welcome to episode 51 of The Knife Guy. If you are new to my channel, or you just came out of some weird corner of the internet and you have no idea where you are or what you're watching, I'm a knife guy, knife user, knife collector, knife enjoyer of many sorts. We are all knife guys and gals in this weird enthusiast knife world. We all go down our own unique paths, but oftentimes these paths intersect and we experience a lot of the same things or think the same things. And that's what this show is dedicated to, or this series is just talking about those shared experiences. What I like to do is lay out a bunch of knives that are either mine or knives that have been sent to me by some generous viewers, and just, pick them up and flip them and just talk about them, or talk about whatever the topic is, and give you guys something to sit back and enjoy on Sundays. So what are we talking about today? Well, as the title suggests, I wanted to take another opportunity to talk about, the idea of starting a knife-related YouTube channel, or a YouTube channel in general. Now, I know that not everybody has considered this, but if you're watching this video, chances are you're a big part, at least, of your interaction with the knife world is on YouTube. In any enthusiast community, there's going to be a fairly large collection of different YouTube channels and different YouTube creators that are associated with that community. Now, if you look at like the fitness community or the automotive community on YouTube, oh my God, they're huge. And let's not even talk about gaming, right? Massively oversaturated. The ones that are front and center are generally the really, really big ones. The weird thing about the knife community is that it is growing. It is expanding. The knife industry is expanding. And so, there are substantially more knife-related YouTube channels now than there were 10 years ago. But even the biggest knife-related channels are not that big in contrast with other YouTube-led enthusiast communities. It's growing, and so it's an interesting place. There's a lot of people who are like, I like knives. I got a lot of knives. Maybe I should start a channel. And it's certainly an idea. But I want to take this. I've made a video like this before. Actually, if you go way back, I think it's in Discussion and Controversy on my channel. I talk about, I made a video called The Pros and Cons of Starting a YouTube Channel, and it got like nothing. It was like no views. This was a long time ago. It was like a year and a half, close to 2 years ago. And I think I only had like 2,000 subscribers there. But I want to talk about it again because I know this has crossed a lot of your minds. And I'll offer some advice where I can. Nick Shabazz recently talked about this, and I agree with so many things with what he said. I think his video was more like, why don't I do this full time? And I think the first thing I should say is if you're considering starting a YouTube channel of any type, but probably if you're watching this, you're probably considering starting a knife-related YouTube channel. If the goal is to make money, if that's your main goal, don't do it. I know that that's disheartening to hear. I know that you hear, and it seems like, I'm sure the first thing that people ask right after somebody like me says that, they're like, well, like, why is it that I hear that from, knife channels that are either already successful or that are growing, really fast? And I'm blessed, guys. Let me point that out. 17 point whatever thousand right now I'm blessed, but it's not big. In the grand scheme of YouTube, it's nothing. Truthfully, even channels like Nick Shabazz will say it too. He says, at 100,000 subscribers, I'm still really not that big. And that's, I take that, how you will, anybody who's got a channel right now, if you've got 100 subs, then 1,000 subs seems big. 10,000 subs seems big. 100,000 subs, obviously, that's big. So I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it's not really that big of a deal. That's not what I'm saying. It's not. And a lot of people wonder, how much are YouTubers making? And the truth is that it varies from YouTube channel to YouTube channel. Sites like Social Blade, nowhere near accurate on the low or the high end, you know, and there's a million other elements, right? YouTubers make some money on ad revenue, but there's hundreds of other avenues that any individual YouTuber might use to generate income. And the truth is the vast majority of any income that I make, it's just like I'm choosing to. It must go back into the channel. That is the only way to keep this going, right? If I could pop in with 100, 200K subs, yeah, you probably could make some pretty serious money. But in the early days, no. I've been doing this for 2.5 years, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It took me 3 months to get to 100 subscribers. And also, just to let you guys know, you know, when can you start making money? In terms of ad revenue, your channel you don't even have the option to request to become monetized. Meaning, those ads that you guys have to watch, Raid Shadow Legends, right at the beginning of the video, that's, you know, those are on. I don't choose the ads. YouTube chooses the ads for me. But essentially, when people click on those ads, if they decide that they want to purchase something, or actually, I think it's just when they click on them, I make an extremely small, I'm talking pennies, right? So that's what monetization is, the ability for YouTube to place ads on your content if it is deemed appropriate by YouTube. So your comment has to be appropriate, right, to the advertisers who are placing the ads on there. And then YouTube and the advertisers obviously make the massive, the big, far and away the biggest cut, and then the YouTuber makes pennies. The idea being that if you're getting an enormous amount of views, those pennies add up. But, you know, at a few hundred or even a few thousand, no, you're not really making anything, right? So anyways, the option to even become monetized does not become available to you as a YouTuber until you hit 1,000 subscribers and a minimum of 4,000 hours of combined view time. How long did it take me to get to 1,000 subs? So if you look up on Google, how long does it take, right? Most of what you'll find is that it takes between a year and a year and a half. I got lucky at 10 months. For 10 months, I was uploading videos almost every day. And it took 10 months to get to 1,000. And I was overjoyed. But then, listen to this. Just so you guys know, YouTube has different time periods where they are or are not approving channels for monetization, right? You have to submit a request to be monetized at 1,000 subs. And in some cases, if it's during a period where they are, you know, actually combing through these and deciding whether or not the channel is appropriate to be monetized in the first place, in some cases, it can only take a couple of weeks. In my case, let me think about this. It took an additional 5 months. So the moment that I hit, please, you know, let me be monetized at 1,000 subs, it took an additional 5 months. So it was a year and 3 months. And at that point, I was starting to upload sometimes twice a day. So if you could imagine the amount of work that I did for nothing, and you know, before I could get monetized, just to make literally a couple of dollars a day in the beginning, you know. The point that I'm saying is that if you're wanting to start this for money, don't. The reason that I did this was not for money. It was because I love folding knives. I don't know if you guys can tell at almost 1,000 uploads, but I love folding knives. I had already spent, at the time, about 7 to 8 years in and out of the forums, constantly looking up information, constantly trying to learn, and I still am nowhere near a professional. I'm still just a guy with a camera who looks at and talks about knives, right? And, you know, that's the thing there. I just like to do it. I'm not always right. I'm rambling. I just kind of do my thing. I do, you know, what I normally do if I talk to somebody who's either into or not into yet, you know, if they're, you know, folding knives, but anybody that I can talk with in my personal life, I was bombarding them with information because I just loved it so much and I wanted to get people involved. And I realized, well, my social circle is very small compared to the potential audience of YouTube. Maybe I should just record me talking with myself about this stuff and see if anybody cares. And in the beginning, it's very disheartening because the truth is just about nobody cares. It's very difficult to get noticed at all on YouTube at the very bottom, right? The people who subscribe to you in the beginning, probably just your friends, some of your family members who do it. Just, my family was like, yeah, sure, okay, sub. Nobody watched my content. A few of my friends would watch my content periodically, and then slowly over time, I'd go days at a time without any subs. Some days I'd get a negative sub or -2 subs. People would be like, nah, not interested, right? Guys, some of you remember that I was reviewing knives out of a vehicle in the beginning. The vehicles that were on the lot to the dealership that I worked at. Fortunately, I was really good friends with my bosses. And when it was slow, I would just grab a knife and I would go out there and talk about it. It would be one of mine from my collection, or it'd be one of my co-workers who I had actually turned into, so I had got them interested enough in a knife that they had purchased their own, and I would take the opportunity to review it. Now, obviously, in the beginning, the hard part is content. It's like, well, I want to put out more videos, but I don't know what to talk about. I don't have a lot of knives, and yeah, that's a problem, because the other thing you need in the beginning, you have to have passion, and number two, you have to have content, right? I was uploading maybe 3 times a week in the beginning because I had all this information pouring out of me, and I was lucky to have people in my social circle that had knives, and I could do that, and sometimes I would show the same knife in another video and it would be a discussion topic. We'll kind of circle back to that. This is going to be a long knife guy, guys, because I got a lot to talk about. For those of you who like to sit through my rambles and hear everything, I got a lot to say. And hopefully the end goal is to help people decide whether or not this is the kind of thing for them. So I was lucky enough to have enough to keep me going. And that was just for 3 months. It just was such a push, to get to 100. But what kept me going was, well, whether or not people are watching or even enjoy this, I enjoy it, so I'm just going to keep doing it. And it was fun. Every now and then I'd get a comment or see a new sub, right? The first video that, I remember this, the first video I did that actually got a decent amount of views, I think it got 200 views in one day. And I was blown away. 200 people cared enough to view this. It was when the Spyderco PM2 in M4 came out. And my buddy Ricky got a hold of one, and we unboxed it. We did one video that was just a silent unboxing. And then we did another video where we just sat there and talked about it. And 200 people in one day viewed that. And I was so excited and that's when I realized I was like, there was a euphoria associated with it. I got excited about it, and I was so motivated, to keep going. And that may or may not happen. In the beginning, I mean, this was a month and a half, 2 months into it. In the beginning, yeah, 200 views on one video was pretty big. So I was very much overjoyed by that. But nothing I was doing was generating any money. It was taking extra time to do. I was just putting a title on there and uploading. I wasn't tagging it, which is something you have to do. I wasn't adding much of a description. It was just like, this is a knife. It is a PM2 Spyderco with the M4, right? I didn't know what the heck I was doing. To continue to be successful and generate views, there's actually so much more that needs to go in the video. The thumbnail has to be attractive. So I had to teach myself how to make attractive thumbnails and edit the pictures. All of my thumbnails I make. I very, very rarely use a pre-rendered image. It's just not something that I do. I want my thumbnails to appear a certain way. And so I had to teach myself how to, and I downloaded a free application you can get on, the App Store, where you can, take a picture and then you can crop it. You can change the hue and the contrast and all that. And I was using my phone. For anybody who doesn't know, back then it was a Samsung Galaxy S8. Or I think I might have even started with an S7. I can't remember. An S8, and then I moved, what I'm currently using is an S10 Plus. And your phone is an excellent, everybody's got a phone that can record, right? So you can use that. I didn't have a tripod or anything. I was just holding the phone, sitting in a vehicle, talking about knives, right? That's all I needed. But anyways, the thumbnail, I had to teach myself how to make attractive thumbnails, because I realized when I made thumbnails look nicer, on average, they got a few more views. Then I learned about tagging, which, when you upload a video, It gives you 500 characters that you can fill with tags that should be associated with the content that you're putting out. So I had to think every single video, I had to stop and think, what do I want to title this as? How do I want the thumbnail to look? And what tags should I put in here that are associated with this knife? So for example, if it was a Spyderco PM2, I would tag it as PM2, Spyderco PM2, Spyderco knives, best Spyderco knives, Spyderco PM2, this or that. You know, you have to do that in every single one. And yeah, in some cases you can copy and paste. But so then I'm starting to do that. And that's taking additional time for each upload, right? The whole time you're contemplating whether or not your presentation is good or how it's, you know, how the information is being presented, whether or not you appear, you know, intelligent, right? So I'm constantly questioning how this is appearing to people. And the truth is the vast majority of people who watch your content, whether you are a large channel or a small channel, they watch it and then they go, huh, and then they move on. They don't do anything, right? But the comments that I would get would greatly affect, you know, in the beginning, greatly affect me. I was constantly shaping and molding the channel based on the comments that I was getting, and I still do that. But in the beginning, I think it's both important and not important to listen to every single comment. You can't, you know, if you're going to do this, you cannot react to every single comment with fierce negativity, or just like automatically go, okay, I'll just change that. You know, it's one of those things where what's right and what's wrong kind of go out the window, because you have to be, it's so important to be real, to say what you think, right? To say what you feel, to be normal. Don't try to develop a YouTube personality, right? You mean be yourself, and the quirks that come out, you know, the weird things about your personality, they come out, right? Keep them. The people who like you for that will stay. The people who don't like it, well, whatever. They can go and watch the other billions of videos on YouTube, right? You want to attract people who like you, who care about the information that you are putting out, right? And that want to come and stay. That's why those people will subscribe to you. Most of the time, people don't subscribe because they don't like you, right? So the idea should never be, you know, get as many subscribers as possible. I mean, obviously that's beneficial. You want people to come in who like you and your content, because if you're having to cater or change your personality to the widest possible audience, then every single video that you do will become a chore and it won't be fun. That's always been the foundation of this channel. If I'm not having fun, if I don't enjoy it, then I'm not going to do it, right? There's a lot of requested videos or requested types of content, and I comb over all this stuff. If it sounds like something that's fun and I can get enthusiastic about, then yeah, I'll make a video, because guess what? The people who come to my channel, they like that. That's the kind of stuff they like to see. That's why they have subscribed. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what my audience likes, because it's stuff that I like to do. It's so important to be real. If you don't know what you're talking about, then you can still talk about it, but say in the beginning, I try to say every time, I'm not an expert on this. I don't know this 100%. These are just my thoughts on it, right? But yeah, you wanna kind of know. And that doesn't mean that you have to research everything, you know, for 8 years like I did. You know, if you've handled a few high-end folding knives, you know, and you like them and you feel comfortable talking about them for 5 minutes, your videos don't have to be 20 minutes like mine. My videos are 20 minutes because I can't stop talking. What are we at here? 18 minutes? Boy, this is going to be a long episode. My videos are long because I can't stop talking. Your videos can be 2 minutes. I would recommend 5 minutes at least. 5 to 10 minutes is a perfect length for a YouTube video. Can you sit down and talk about something for 5 to 10 minutes? Will your real enthusiasm, your real organic thoughts come out on camera in 5 to 10 minutes? Can you present the information in a way that is at least semi-structured? Because it's hard to find structure early on, right? And then can you do it in a way that is viewable, you know, to people? Like, will people get a good visual representation of what they're looking at, right? What it is that you're trying to say, what it is that you're directing the information towards. I'm probably unintentionally demotivating a lot of people, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm probably also motivating a few people. And this video is not, by the way, either 100% you should or 100% you shouldn't. It's here's the facts, here's my experience, here's the facts about my experience, and then you can take from it what you will, which is, truthfully, that's the structure that I use on every single video. Here's the topic. Here's the object, right? Here are the facts about the object. Here are my opinions about the object. And then you can do whatever you want with that information. Another huge piece of advice that ties into everything else that I've talked about. You have to develop resilience and some callousness. You don't have to become this stoic barbarian that's a statue that's like, no, I will do this and I will not listen to anybody and I am completely you don't have to be like that. People are going to come and watch your content and they're going to say what they think. You know why? Because all they have to do is type it into the comment section and then, bye, Felicia, do whatever you want. A lot of times they don't even care about what they're commenting. A lot of times people will just comment things just to see if they can get a rise out of you. That's going to happen. And it's very easy to have an initial emotional response to it. Well, how dare you? And you want to, dumpster fire. We talked about that. Some people will leave overly nice comments. A lot of times people will watch your comment, watch your content, and they'll go, this guy's trying. He's trying really hard. God bless him. I'm going to, give him something, to keep him going. Hey, great video. Loved it. Keep up the good work. Keep going. You'll get there. Whatever, And, let yourself feel good about that in the beginning. That in some ways is actually, it gives you a false sense of accomplishment. And it's actually not, the only value you're getting out of it is just, hey, thanks, it feels good. And I love those types of comments, I do. For people who watch my comment and they're like, God bless this little channel that's only at 17,500 subscribers. He's trying, one day he'll get there. Maybe they hated the video and they're just being nice. I do appreciate that, but whether somebody is leaving a false positive comment or they're leaving a negative comment that has a lot of salt and fire added to it just because they want to get a rise out of me, you have to develop a sense for what that looks like and how beneficial it is to react to it, either in terms of the next video that you put out or how you initially react to that person. Transparency here, guys. I have definitely bit people's heads off in the comment section before. Somebody comments and I can tell that it's a real comment and they're disagreeing with me in a way that's very fierce, and it's like, you're wrong and I think you're stupid. And then they give me it's not so much that it's a personal attack, it's that I feel like maybe they're very convinced that this way of thinking is correct, and that I've done them and my audience a personal disservice by stating the information the way that I did. And in that situation, I will come back. And I usually give people a pretty soft response first. And then if they keep arguing, oh, I have definitely been heated in my comments section before. Definitely. So it is not something, I will not pretend for a second that I am an impenetrable fortress. Most of the negative stuff, I just wave it off. Because you start to, notice, what a troll looks like. And you also notice what a truly, somebody who is approaching the situation logically. Hey, I like the video, but I got to disagree with this. Actually, here's some information that I feel like maybe you didn't know about. And I think that, maybe you should consider this the next time you do a topic. I love that. I depend on that. And that is a huge part of it. Those people are genuinely interested in making sure that the community, the viewing audience, and me as the loudest voice on the channel, right, the channel creator, have the right information. I have to have people like that. I have to have people who will correct me, and you will too as a creator, because nobody on this planet knows everything. Me? Still tip of the iceberg. I talk a lot, and I've got a lot of information in my head, but it's nowhere near the collective total of all the information that's out there. So you have to be willing to listen to some people. It's very, very important. I can't think for a second, right? If the channel gets, last month the channel got 400,000 views. So I can't think for a second that my little self could possibly know even close to the collective information of all of those people. It's not actually, because people will watch 2 to 3 videos when they come to my channel. So 150,000 to 200,000 individual people coming and watching the channel. It is not likely. It's a dead certainty that there's at least, a handful of people, probably thousands of people watching the channel who know way more than me, and it's still nothing compared to the collective knowledge of all those people monthly visiting the channel. So of course, I have to expect that I'm going to learn things not just monthly, not just weekly, but daily, sometimes hourly. I read a comment and I go, oh crap. Like from months ago, I have videos that I posted. I was so like, that's a great video, great execution, great presentation. And somebody will comment 6 months later and go, that's wrong. And I'll realize, I'll fact check it and go, oh my God, thousands of people have watched this video and I gave them the wrong information. What can you do? All I can do is go back and edit out that part. Not to save my own butt, but to keep the wrong information from being spread further. Right? That's all you can do, right? Or you can delete the video. Don't turn the comments off, right? I've removed comments. I've blocked a few people, not very many. I think maybe 20 people in the grand total of this channel have been blocked. And those are people who are just there to start a fire. I don't need that. Get out of here, you know? But don't turn the comments off. If you're going to leave the video up, by the way. Let people comment, right? If you feel like the comment is destructive in nature and not helpful to anybody, then by all means, remove it. Get them out of here. Nobody needs that, right? But you got to be careful about that. That's something that you have to monitor, right? You have to pay attention to. You have to be open to. You have to be able to depend on your own personal idea of what is, you know, a comment that is helpful or the debate that follows the comment, whether or not that's helpful, right? Definitely. Where are we at? 26 minutes in, that was the first part of this. That was the more simple part. You know, as the channel grows, it does get more complicated, and probably the most complicated part is figuring out your pace. You know, over time you develop a structure based on what you think is right and what other people enjoy or what other people are suggesting, and you develop this structure. For some people, the structure is 1 upload a week. It's going to be very difficult for your channel to grow at 1 upload a week. You can do that, but you have to get really lucky with an upload. And what's the likeliness that you'll upload a video and it'll get 1 million views overnight? You're more likely to be struck by lightning 10 times in a row than that happening. I'm serious. That is not likely. The first video I had that got 1,000 views was months and months and months, right? I have one video that's got almost 300,000 views, and it was a complete fluke. The knife that you shouldn't hand it on knife people video was directly influenced by Lugermonger's video. And I thought, that's an interesting topic. I'd like to talk about that. And I referenced it in the video. Most people who watch the video watch for about 30 seconds and they're like, you stole this from Lugermonger. So they had no idea that I referenced the video in the video. But basically the only reason that video got so many views is because probably the thumbnail, and probably because it was directly associated with another video that had millions of views, right? And I mean, that is something that you can do. It's perfectly okay to look on YouTube and go, which topics are people, you know, paying attention to? Maybe I should give my opinion on that as well, because it sounds like something I'd be interested to talk about, and it sounds like maybe it's something my audience would be interested in hearing my take on, right? Perfectly okay. You definitely shouldn't be robbing content from other people. Don't copy content. Don't use their content, right? That gets really complicated with what, especially after you're monetized, right? What YouTube thinks is acceptable. If you're obviously stealing something, if you add music that isn't yours, any type of, you know, content that could be viewed as copyright, they will take your monetization forever. You don't get to, on that video, they will demonetize you. And if you get too many strikes, they'll shut the monetization on your channel down completely. So yeah, you do have to play by the rules. There is always the option to create a YouTube channel that is completely and totally not, you know, there's no motivation whatsoever to gain any type of income for it, right? If you're confident that you, number one, if you're so passionate about it that the whole idea of creating the YouTube channel is just to record your thoughts and share it with the knife community, right? Then that's great. Then you can, for the most part, you can almost say whatever you want. You still can't be super duper violent, or, you know, you can't, I mean, obviously there's certain types of content you just can't put on YouTube that'll get removed by YouTube. You still have to follow rules a little bit, but you can be more yourself, right? The problem is that you're gaining no income. So if you want to be able to provide a constant stream of content at a certain pace, it might cost money. You might, in some cases, have to, you know, pay for things that are associated with the content you're trying to put out. If you're putting out, you know, 1 video a month, yeah, it'll probably cost you nothing and you can just make videos, you know, but it's hard to grow. So it's like, For the most part, growth and fast growth, and define fast how you will, is almost 100% associated with a certain cost. There will be a certain amount of money you will have to put into the channel if you expect to get a lot of growth. It costs me a lot of money to ship and insure knives for the channel. It costs me a lot of money to pay for the items that I give to my patrons for just for joining. Sometimes I buy things that I give away. You know, there's a lot of different little tiny things that you have to, that you will need to pay for if you're interested in that. And it's not always the case, but this is how I do it. You know, and you have to figure that out. You have to budget correctly, right? I have to write up a schedule. At any one time, I've got about a month's worth of content that's pre-recorded, right? Which is crazy because you guys know I put out at least 2 videos a day. That's 14 recordings a week, but I'm not just recording 14. I'm recording ahead. Sometimes I'm recording 20 uploads in a week so that I can have this bank of content that might be more or less appropriate for any given time or situation, you know, where certain videos back to back might make more sense depending on whatever it is that I'm talking about. And I expect this to become infinitely more complicated if this channel is going to grow. It simply will. There will be more processes, right? And I'm already stretched for time. Oh my goodness, am I stretched for time, right? Then there's other things, you know, making sure that your description has whatever information you want in it on every single video. Making sure, like in the case here, like in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you see the little YouTube thing that says you can subscribe. You got to, you know, go through the settings on YouTube, make sure that that's there. Every single video, if you want, you know, there to be a reason to click on something in the middle of a video and go to another video, then the banners up top that appear, that little I with a circle around it, the little lowercase little letter I, then your end screens, you have to get all that set up. There's a lot of background, you know, YouTube settings that need to be changed and tweaked based on, you know, what you've learned about uploading your videos. That can change exactly how people interact with your content. On top of that, the most complicated part of this, for sure, is constantly, is something that I do, is constantly monitoring my analytics. I'm constantly having to look at how many views did this video get? How many subscribers did I get because of this video? Where were people going after they watched this video? Why? Right? You have to do that so that you know you get a better sense of where to go, you know, after, you know, you've recorded this much content. And if you've uploaded 10 to 20 videos, the data that you're getting from it is basically meaningless. I mean, not completely meaningless, but it's basically, you know, the more videos that you put out, the more data you have to analyze. And I had to teach myself how to read the information, how to navigate through the YouTube Studio thing. Ugh, it's a mess, right? On top of that, the Google AdSense thing, you have to get that set up. You got to get all the legal stuff, you know, and it's not pre-taxed, right? So you have to record all of that so that come tax season, you are, you know, you're stating your income correctly. You set up additional, you know, streams of income. Like I've got Patreon, and you guys know I do the Amazon affiliate thing. I do I'm now a Blade HQ affiliate, a GP Knives affiliate. I've got Redbubble. Those are all individual, you know, sources of income, and it is such a pain to make sure that is all recorded and taken down. There are a lot of stresses involved with this. As the channel grows, it becomes exponentially more stressful. You can make money on this. You can, you know, potentially make more and more, but also if you can't keep your audience engaged and the views drop off, then everything drops off. You know, and it's not, you know, for me, it's, the amount of, I mean, obviously if there is a month where there's more income, then great, I can do more things with the channel. But really the big shot to the heart is not whether or not I make more or less money, you know, or less money if I get less views. It's the livelihood. Like you get really obsessed with watching the green bar go up. So when it drops or dips, you're like, what am I doing wrong? Or you see, you know, like, just so you guys know, like the channel gains between 2,500 and 3,000 subscribers right now every month. But I also lose a couple of hundred subs a month. And I'm constantly asking myself, why did I lose those subs, right? for most people, you know, they're thinking, well, if you're gaining 3,000 and you're losing 200 to 300, well, you still gained 2,700, right? It's not so much how I think about it. It's what did I do to make those people unsubscribe? And you get obsessed with that, and you spend, so yeah, it's a balancing act of figuring out, you know, where you want to put your time and your efforts and your focus. It's impossible for me to just dedicate an hour a day to the channel and then be done with it. You're constantly, like for me, it's beneficial to set up other social media accounts. For a while, I had Twitter and Instagram. I let go of Twitter. It just wasn't working for me. I don't even mess with Facebook. I just do an Instagram. So I'm also uploading images to Instagram. I'm tagging those. I'm trying to keep my audience engaged there because number one, I love Instagram because I am constantly looking at images and trying to be engaged with the other makers and be aware of things as they come out, right? But also it's because it's another way for people to discover me and my channel, right? I've experimented with different things. You know, I created a second channel for a while, Silent Complex. It did okay. There were about 600, 700 people that subscribed to it. I'm not currently uploading more content to it because it takes too much time for what I get back out of it. And I love making the content, but I found that I wasn't loving it as much as doing this. And so all of this circles back to you have to find a way, you know, through all the stress, all the complications, you have to find a way to keep the passion. And you have to do it in a way that, you know, it's structured in a way where you feel good about the time that you put into it, and you feel good about the response that you're getting, and that it does not affect your regular life. You cannot make your life about this. And a couple of times, you know, I realized that this channel is starting to really sort of elbow into my personal life. And I'll always put my own family first. I have to. My wife and my kids will always come first. And I'm ashamed to, you know, say that, you know, there were times where, you know, it's like I should be involved with my family, and I'm looking down at my phone, scrolling through comments, and I shouldn't be doing that. And it's difficult, you know. And if you don't have a wife and kids, or you don't have a husband and kids, you know, or you know, then maybe it'll affect you less. But still, like, you have to have a social life, and I don't like being holed up in my basement for too long, you know, because there's an outside world I want to experience, you know. But this is still very fun. I still very much enjoy it, despite the complications. But this is in no way, this has never been all joy and no pain. And there will be more pain as this channel grows. Inevitably, it will become more complicated. And so, you know, you have to, what I've always kept in my head is that I absolutely have to, this has to keep being fun. It has to keep making sense with my life. And you know, if there is room for it. If there's just not room for it anymore, then it can't make sense. But I have found my structure. I found my way. I found exactly how much effort I want to put into a video where it's fun and I can keep doing what I've promised my audience, which is 2 uploads a day. And my goodness, is that difficult to do. For the most part, I think for every 100 people who decide they want to start a YouTube channel, I think maybe one of those people will actually stick with it and keep doing it. And how many of those people will really be successful, I have no idea. The success of this channel is 100% based on luck. I know you guys like how I present the information. I'm infinitely flattered by that. It seems that, you know, people are wanting to view the content. Your personality and your presentation will absolutely have an enormous amount to do with how many people will come and watch your channel if you decide to do this. But also, you can't do it. I could not have done this by myself. You guys know that the vast majority of the knives that I receive come from viewers who trust that I will take care of their knives and return it efficiently and in the exact condition that it came in. So that is another stress. I have never lost a package, but boy, I'm dreading the day, you know, if that ever happens. It's scary, so you have to ensure things right. And developing that type of trust in the community with people does not come automatically. People are not willing to just send knives, you know, to somebody. I didn't have somebody send me a knife until I think Jeff was one of the first people who sent me a knife, and it was a really expensive knife, you know. And those people are out there, but they have to decide personally that you're somebody that they trust, you know. So, and people get their content, you know, in different ways. You don't have to do it this way. It's just what ended up happening with me. Yeah, I mean, that's a gigantic part of it. I forget exactly where I was going with that. It's hard, you talk for 40 minutes to keep the flow going, I guess the one gift that I have is not being able to stop talking. I'm able to just not, fill my videos with ums or this or that, and that can be difficult. But yeah, if Slicey Dicey had not initially discovered me back when he had about 5,000 and I had about 500, that was a huge part of it, developing a friendly relationship with Slicey Dicey and then a bunch of other channels. And it was also equally important that I started to point out, other channels that people should go and take a look at. You are a part of a community, so there is give and take. There are things that you can and should do for the other people around you, whether they be your viewers or other YouTube channels or just the collective, knife community in general, everybody. Lots to think about, guys. I don't know that there's a benefit to keep going. I'm sure there's like 7 of you still here watching, but starting a YouTube channel can be very stressful. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. It is a lot more complicated than the vast majority of people think. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. By all means, I think anybody who's passionate enough about anything, and if they feel confident in starting a YouTube channel, you should explore it and decide whether or not it is the right thing for you. It will take up your time and potentially it can eat up your money, if you're not careful about what it is that you're doing. Be kind to people, be honest, be yourself, give back. For those of you who are still here, and one of the most important things is when you have an opportunity to give back to the people who have supported you and helped you grow, you should do it. Definitely. Give things to people, offer support, offer shout outs to other channels, let them know that you care, and don't just do it for the benefit of your channel. Do it because it's the right thing to do, because a lot of times the people who reach out to me, they don't want anything in return. They're just being nice because they're good people. So it's important that you do the same. Boy, I hope that was helpful to somebody. Guys, I think that's going to be pretty much it for today. This is officially the longest knife guide that I have ever done. If you're still here after 42 minutes, congratulations, you've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this or at least found it entertaining or mildly informative. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go and click on this metal complex logo right here and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.